Hello everyone, this is the Mind of Lilith, and thank you for joining me today as I take a deeper look into the most recent episode of Love and Marriage Huntsville Season 6, Episode 3. I will not be doing a full episode recap as there are plenty of other content creators who do a great job of covering the show. Instead, I'm going to focus on specific segments of the episode that I believe could be used as teachable moments for myself and the audience. So this episode focused mainly on Tisha and her cousin Kiki, and Kimmy and the ladies had a little spa date at the end of the episode, which I did find interesting because in the scene where Kimmy and Tisha were talking about Marsau and the business, Melody called Kimmy and asked if she could get massages because she's still getting treatment for her cancer, and Kimmy said sure. And then Tisha spoke to Melody and invited her to an event. Melody said sure. So I did find it interesting that they had a similar type of event planned. I don't know if it was something that was intentional. These things happen. I mean, from my experience watching reality shows, there's like a limited amount of venues that the cast can attend together where, you know, they're all hanging out, whether it's a party or a trip or at a restaurant or at a spa or whatever. So yeah, it was kind of weird. But throughout the episode, Tisha complained about Marsau pretty much treating her as if she does not have any say in the company that she has the majority ownership in. So Tisha owns 85% of Scholt, but Marsau is making all of the executive decisions without consulting with his wife at all. And in Marsau's mind, he's like, that's okay because she's the owner of the business, so she doesn't have to be involved with the day-to-day administrative work as far as interviewing employees for new positions or dealing with any of the financials of the company. Like, he pretty much treats her as if she's a silent partner. And Marsau is doing this to spite her, in my opinion, because she owns 85% of the company. I think that Marsau does not want to end up like Martel and Melody, where they both shared equal power in the company. And the reason why they both shared equal power in the company is because Melody had her builder's license and she was the one with the better business acumen. Martel was great at constructing things and I guess organization and management of the workflow, but Melody was better at managing their businesses overall. She had great leadership qualities in that regard. Great at public speaking. Again, the builder's license she had, she was more equipped to run the business or to be at least an equal partner in a way that Marsau does not want Tisha to be. I think that Marsau believes that if Melody and Martel did not have an equal amount of power, they could have still been married to this day. But I think Marsau is trying to keep Tisha in check, because he does not want her to get too big for her britches per se. He wants her to still be the submissive, docile wife who allows him to go to Africa because he feels like it and he's so stressed out. So Marsau is always complaining about having so much work to do, yet he's married to a woman who has 2 master's degrees and who wants to help out, and their children are now school age. She does not have to be at home all day with the babies. She has literally like an 8-hour block of time where she's not with the kids. The kids may go to school from 8 o'clock in the morning to 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. They may even do extracurriculars, so on and so forth. So Tisha does not have to be a stay-at-home mom at this point. The children are school age. She's done what she was supposed to do per Marsau's request. She did her job, and now she wants to get back into the world of work, which is why she went to school and got her degrees in the first place. There's nothing wrong with being a stay-at-home wife, but a lot of women want an identity outside of being a mother and a chef and a breeder. There's nothing wrong with that either. So Marsau spoke with his father. I love the conversation he had with his father. I was a little bit, scared to see an older man who's overweight smoking a cigar because, that's not healthy in general. But I love the conversation that Marsau had with his father. And his father was like, you're working hard, but you're not enjoying the work. you don't have the time to enjoy what you're working for, especially your family. And it's interesting that his father said this because Marsau again went to Africa without his family. So he's doing all this for his family per se, but when he has time off, he spends time away from his family. Marsau spent an entire week on an entirely different continent away from his family, but he's supposed to be working for his family. No, Marsau likes to be the boss. He likes to be in control. He likes to be in charge. And to be honest, I think that Tisha owning 85% of the company really grinds his gears. At this point, being an owner is like a vanity title, right? He gave her the title to shut her up and to make it seem like he respects her and he values her and he sees her as a partner. He does not see her as a partner. Scholt is not a multi-million-dollar corporation with 1,500 staff. They don't even have 30 staff. And even if they had 30 staff, Tisha's still on the board. And when you have board meetings, all of the board members come together either once a week or once a month to discuss the goings on in the company. One person does not make all of the executive decisions in any organization unless it's like a sole proprietorship or a one-man LLC. Even still, you need to have people you consult with, especially investors who want to know what's going on with their money. So Marsau does not treat Tisha like an equal partner. He's treating her as if he resents her for owning 85% of the company. That's what he's doing. And he's going to undermine her at every turn because he resents the fact that she has ownership of the company. That's it. He does not want to end up like Martel and Melody. It wasn't Melody's fault that Martel wasn't competent enough to run the company by himself. Melody was a great partner. She helped to grow the company to what it was. But Marsau would rather work himself to death, work himself into the dust, work himself into, depression, and put all this pressure on his back to prove that he's the man in the relationship and he's in charge. His chauvinism is causing his depression. His chauvinism is causing his insecurity. His misogyny is the reason why he has a hard time delegating tasks to his wife, who wants to help out. She wants to contribute to the success of the company. But in my opinion, I feel like Marsau believes that the less involved Tisha is, the more freedom he has to do what he wants to do whenever he feels like it. It is much easier to hide things from your wife if you don't consult with them about anything, if they know nothing about what's going on in your life. Marsau wants to make sure that Tisha does not get used to the idea of holding him accountable for anything, because if he treats her like the owner, then he would have to answer her questions. He would have to submit to her to an extent, right? If she's asking questions about the company, she automatically becomes the boss. Marsau automatically has to give her a report about what he's doing, and he's never had to do that throughout his relationship. He's always had freedom and autonomy to do whatever he wanted to do while Tisha was at home with the kids. He wants to maintain that dynamic because he needs the flexibility to go out and cheat when he feels like it. He's not going to cheat all the time, but he wants to have the freedom to be able to cheat when he feels like it without Tisha being none the wiser. Because if Tisha doesn't know what Marsau is doing, she can't clock his patterns of behavior. And if she can't clock his patterns, she won't know if he's switching things up. She won't know if he's taking extended lunch breaks. She won't know if he's doing things behind her back that she would be privy to if she were more involved with the goings on in the company. So Marsau may not be cheating right now. And I'm not saying that he's cheating right now, but he needs a lot of wiggle room to fuck around. And if Tisha is always in the loop, I have less freedom to do what I want to do. It's as simple as that. I'm not saying again that Marsau is cheating every single day, all day. Not at all. But to me, he seems like the kind of guy who likes flirting. It may be innocent, but he likes to flirt. He likes to, be a man, right? Be a chauvinist, look at the pretty girls and whatever. And so with his wife being there, there's some resentment about that dynamic. He does not want his wife breathing down his neck and checking him. But again, his father was right. You're working so hard, but you're just working and not being productive. You're just doing busy work. They're building Scott Manor. They're running their restaurant. I think they have another location in Texas. They're trying to build their empire per se. And again, Marsau wants to keep Tisha out the loop to make sure that she can't track him or control him. Alright, so now on to Tisha and Kiki. So Tisha and Kiki pretty much made up, and they talked about why they had a falling out, and they went into the depths of Kiki's addiction. Apparently Kiki's addiction got so bad that she stole Tisha's pain medication when she had a cesarean section, and at that point Tisha decided to cut her off. Which I do understand, because it's very difficult to have a healthy relationship with an addict. A drug addict, a sex addict, a food addict, it doesn't matter. When people are addicts, nothing else matters but feeding the addiction. And I think that the dynamics between Tisha and Kiki were already strained, but that episode in her life, or that phase of her life where she was on drugs, it kind of made things even worse, or exacerbated some pre-existing problems that they had in their relationship because of the way they were raised. So I do understand why Tisha distanced herself from Kiki, and Kiki cannot blame anyone else for her addiction. I don't think she's doing that, but I think that she is not aware of how detrimental or how difficult it was for people to maintain a healthy relationship with her. Now, should Tisha have disclosed Kiki's business to Melody and Martel? I'm still on the fence about that. I don't think it was their business. But I do understand why she would do that if she thought that Kiki was going to steal something from the Holts. If she was willing to steal from her own cousin, it is what it is at this point. But they seem to make up. Now, in the final scene, all the ladies come together. Kimmy and Kiki and Tisha and what's her name? Stormy and Melody. You know, Tiffany is there. They're all coming together to talk about whatever. And at some point, Tiffany starts talking shit. Tiffany has an issue with Kiki because Kiki basically talked about Tisha behind her back. But as I said last season, I did not see anything that Kiki said that was so inflammatory against Tisha. It wasn't that serious. I think that Kimmy not disclosing the extent of the conversation made it seem worse than what it was. And hopefully Tisha was able to see the tape at this point and see what was actually discussed and say, okay, it wasn't that bad. I do think that Kimmy was acting as the bone carrier, and she put 100 on 10. I wonder if Kimmy or any of the other women asked Melody why she invited Kiki to the party, because they seem to have a problem with her being there, but they're more upset with her for attending than they are with Melody for inviting her. So I don't know if that was discussed off camera or if it was set up for the show. But basically Kiki was like, she didn't appreciate Kimmy running to Tisha to tell her business without, giving more context or giving proper context. She feels like Kimmy instigated the rift between Kiki and herself. I will say this. I do understand they're on the show. But if I was Kimmy, I'm not arguing with anybody while I'm getting treated for cancer. I'm not arguing with a damn person about nothing while I'm receiving treatment for chemo. I'm not dealing with any stress. I think it was in poor taste for Kiki to confront Kimmy about this. Not to say that Kimmy is made out of glass and she's fragile, but I wouldn't want to put a woman who's going through chemotherapy and breast cancer under any sort of stress about nonsense. I just don't think that was in good taste, to be honest. I would have left it alone. It wasn't that serious. Yes, I understand why Kiki was frustrated. Last season I said the same thing. I think she exaggerated a little bit or made things worse than what it was. But if you made up with Tisha at that point, let bygones be bygones. I think they just wanted to make drama for the show. So Tiffany jumps in and she's like, I don't like the fact that you threw your cousin under the bus, blah, 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 and was going in. And I'm like, Tiffany, this is not your business. And you're not important in this conversation. The cousins have made up. You're not going to get any brownie points with Tisha by sticking up for her when she doesn't really like you like that in the first place. Like, I get it, but you're not cool with Tisha like that, to the point where you have to defend her honor by making it seem like Kiki, was trying to hurt her cousin. Like, sometimes people accuse you of doing certain things just so that they can justify a certain position they have against you. I think that Tiffany wanted Kiki to be messier than she actually was, just to get like cool points with Tisha and act like she's her knight in shining armor. Like, when it gets to the point where you have to manufacture drama in a spa, and there's a woman there that is like recovering from cancer, getting treated for cancer, and it's like, this is an unnecessarily tense environment. You're supposed to be in a spa relaxing, like the sound bowls and the humming and hawing and oohing and pretending as if you're trying to like have peace, and then you start shit right after that. I cannot stand that. I cannot stand that. I can't stand when people pretend to like be on this spiritual peace loving thing, and then they start shit. It's just annoying to me. It's annoying to me. But anyway, Tiffany was trying to get Melody to say that Kiki was fucked up for talking about her cousin, but Melody's the one who asked the question. So what was Melody supposed to say? Tiffany, you know, it's quite obvious. Like, if you really, you can't. Oh, man. The reason why Melody didn't answer Tiffany is because she was full of shit, right? Melody was the one who invited Kiki to the party. She asked a question. But Tiffany has a lot of smoke for Kiki, and Melody's like, why would I even dignify that with a response? I'm trying to maintain the peace here. That event was last season. It's been talked to death. I think literally last year, 12 months. It was a year ago. Christmas. They had that Christmas summer party. A year later, I'm not discussing this anymore, right? And so Melody did the right thing. Please, let's keep the peace, and that's it. She didn't even dignify it with a response, because again, if she said Kiki was wrong for answering the question the way she did, then she would have been wrong for asking it in the first place. But no one's saying that. So I think that this scene was like awkward and contrived. Talk about the baby. Talk about your businesses. Talk about your husbands. Talk about the kids. Talk about the show. Talk about COVID. Like, just talk about something else besides the bullshit manufactured drama from a year ago. Kiki's party, Melody's party was over a year ago. I remember it was a Christmas party because they had the Christmas hats on. And it's literally 12 months later, and it's the same conversation. And it's unnecessary. You're in a spa with women that are supposed to be healing and mending their friendships with each other. No, Tiffany, you have to learn how to read the room. And even if Kiki was wrong for what she did, that's not your place to say. Tisha already handled it. You know, Melody already handled it. It's already been handled. You coming in now and making it seem like Kiki's some super villain and I don't like her. I don't trust her. You would throw Tisha under the bus. That means you would throw me under the bus too. First of all, you're not even cool like that. So when would she ever get in a position to throw you under the bus, Tiffany? It was just like a bullshit ass contrived argument that was just there to make a scene because it was what it was. And Melody did the right thing by not engaging. Stormy had some smart remarks about how Melody handled the situation, but the goal was to maintain the peace, and that's exactly what she did. She did not engage, and she did not escalate the situation. Sometimes people don't want to do that. It's too much. Okay? It's exhausting to constantly fight and bicker on fucking TV. That shit is irritating. I would not want to be around a group of women who I had to be on guard around all the time because someone's easily triggered about nonsense. Okay, so Tiffany needs to mind her business. That wasn't her place to say. That's between Kiki and Tisha. That's it. Everything else is inconsequential. But yeah, other than that, the episode was pretty uneventful. I guess Tisha and Melody are on better terms now. I don't think I saw Martel this episode. He got embarrassed last episode, so he kind of went in the cut. Maurice, did I see him? I don't remember. It wasn't that much going on in this episode. I do like the fact that Kiki and Tisha made up. That's great for their relationship. I don't like the fact that Kiki confronted Kimmy about something so petty a year later when Kimmy is going through, treatment for cancer. I'm not saying treat her with kid gloves, but it was an unnecessary petty conversation. Why not just enjoy the moment and talk about the things you appreciate about the cast, the show, your life? You've patched things up with Tisha. It is what it is. Just be happy. Be happy. Every moment does not have to be filled with drama for TV. It does not. Okay? Alright guys, I'm going to leave it there. I look forward to reading your feedback. Please like, share, and subscribe. And I'll speak to you soon.